Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. Greetings. It is Warui Deshou. This is Stream of Thought, talking The Promised Neverland, episodes 10 and 11. It's a bumper episode. It's a Friday. I love doing a podcast on a Friday. I hope everyone is doing well out there wherever you are. As I said, I am the subtle doctor, the cream in your coffee. And to my left is your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster, Shadon.
I'm currently enjoying Life and Death. It feels appropriate given the subject matter we'll be covering today. 6.5% with a smooth, malty backbone. I feel like that's something I should put on my Tinder profile. But anyway, how are you not doing, everyone?
Smooth, malty backbone. Love it. Love it. And
can I just say, I was going to make a comment about the ketchup container being closer to the camera today than usual, and then he fucking moved it. What an asshole!
Because I knew you would. I was ready for it.
He got you.
See, Valerie, you're a fine game player. You understand the concept of Yomi.
The Yomi, yes, the Yomi.
Right.
So anyway, but yes, happy Friday, everyone. Woo! I'm drinking this bad boy. I have others as well, by the way, that I'll be working my way through. So expect me to get less coherent, if that's even possible.
And also along for the ride, as per usual, it is the dark web herself. It is Vorgelia. Welcome.
Hello, children.
Hello, home.
Hello, human. I love that the entire chat already is going fucking. Oh my god, Phil! Oh my god,
Yeah.
Phil! That's what we're
sake,
opening
Phil.
with. Fucking hell, Phil! What the hell?
And don't worry, Felix. You're not late. We started.
We just started
at the top of the hour, so we're just doing introductions. Hello,
You
Emily.
missed a
Hello,
ketchup debacle, but not much
hello,
more.
Apanovi. Hello, Sophie, and hello, James, Jessica, and everyone else watching along that is not in chat.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about, but
Oh, fuck me.
before we dive in, I just want to say that everyone should, first of all, follow us on Twitter at Warui Deshou, WARUI DESHOU, and on our Twitter page, our pinned tweet right now is a link to our spring survey. Warui Deshou is doing a survey. We would like your feedback. We would like to know things that you are enjoying, things that you think we could improve on. We want we want to collaborate with you on future program ideas. We want to know how you consume us. It's just a very quick survey, should only take a couple minutes. 4 questions, boom, boom, boom. That's
Did
it.
you just say how you consume us? They
Yes,
take just
orally.
the brain. It's just the brain.
Literally, it's the Promised
That's all they
Neverland.
want. They all want the brain.
Jessica's on point though, we're going to start making all the references here. I've got the Billy Joel lyrics lined up in my head all night long.
Yeah.
We didn't start the fire.
The show really burned it down in wrestling terms. So, yeah, take our survey, help us out. We would really appreciate it. With that, I don't have my little cue thing sound player. So you may have noticed that there was no intro music this week. When I clicked play, there was some sort of error. So fuck it. I need to get a new one anyway. I was not happy with the program I was using. So anyway, the doc fan is all gone. Yeah, I know. It's the angle of the camera is ever so slightly different. So yeah, it's just barely peeking in.
Everything's changing.
It's up to nefarious things that's moving around when we're not streaming.
This is the climax to our show, much like how we're discussing the climax of The Promised Neverland.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, Vorgelia's icon is going to be reversed. Same icon, it's just going to be flipped. Or even upside down.
Or I'll have a webcam.
Oh.
Da-da-da. Suspense. Excitement.
Will you also have a similarly placed bottle of condiments, to complement, what's going on over here? Get some duality
figure out
going.
what I can do. I'll figure out what I can do.
If it's fucking mayo, though, we're not on speaking terms anymore. I'm just throwing that out.
Oh, that's
Mayo's shit. Mayo is shit.
Who?
Shadon, I don't know if it's me, but your camera keeps on freezing.
It might be because my internet's currently a bit wonky at the moment. It seems like I've only got partial quality on the... Yours is also freezing as well, so I think it's just the quality of the call.
Oh, for me, Docs is just fine. I think it's just you.
Do you want to hang up and get back on the call before we get started?
Let me try.
Okay. It's going to look weird for a minute. Sorry about that. I was in both windows. Okay.
Let's see if that holds. Let's see if the waveform doesn't collapse.
No, you've already frozen. Boo.
It can't be helped.
Yeah. What are we going to do?
Well, we have Mr. Spreadsheet himself, Shadon.
That's right.
It's true. That's my day job. I just basically smash spreadsheets together.
Spreadsheet wizard. Okay, well, would you like to enlighten us on last episode's Twitter polls from 2 episodes ago now?
I have them up right here as it happens.
All right.
So, apart from the fact that I look like, probably look like a motion picture right now, I do apologize. I hope you can at least hear me all okay. So, first question that we had for episode 9, this was specifically, was, were you a fan of the visual direction of said episode? We had a tie, believe it or not. We had 40% in for yes, it was amazing, 40% for it was fine, and we had 20% who said, whatever. So, yeah, tie on that one. Speaking of visual direction and presentation, next question we had was, did the CG of, Norman's long walk into the great beyond detract from, that moment in the episode? And this is actually 55% say yes, regressively it did, so...
Yeah.
See, CG is the devil, I tell you, man. I tell you. Fucking devil. Is the infantile amnesia thing stupid, referring to how Ray knows about the history of Grace House and such? 22% said, yeah, it was pretty dumb. 57% said... And 21% said, no, it's great, shut up. Fine, shut up.
It's a good imitation of 21%.
I didn't like how there wasn't like a middle ground, because it's like, okay, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's like as horrible as like other anime contrivances that we've let pass. So, I mean,
Oh, come on, we're a bad podcast. We're not consistent.
There's no room room for fence sitting. There's on Warui Deshou, there isn't even a fence.
We're too cheap to have one.
Yeah.
You must come hot with your takes. Pick a side. There's no neutral.
And the last question we had was, does Ray care about Norman and Emma at this point in episode 9, or rather in episode 9? And, well, it was pretty conclusive, this one. 100% said, yeah. So, well played, folks. Well played.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, the first unanimous poll. Very good. Before we move forward, I'm going to try one more time to diagnose the issues that are going on. So if everyone can hang up, and I will restart the call really quickly here.
I'm being booted out of Warui Deshou.
Okay.
Oh, hey guys.
We're back, and I haven't noticed the Shadon freeze yet. I think maybe since I'm hosting.
Jazz hands, do jazz hands.
Yay!
Hey, it's working. Okay, you can stop.
That's the most scaring out of me.
Felix, I'm sure. Listen, you will clear the Promised Neverland CG anime background bar before you know it. That is a low bar. I have faith in you. I have all the confidence in the world. I didn't know you were like an animator of any kind. That's really interesting.
It's also like their backgrounds are very stylized and hand painted, it seems, even on the CG models. So that kind of will add a lot already. So yeah.
Okay. How we're going to do this week, since we've got to cover so much ground, is I'm going to do 2 very broad summaries of 10 and 11 to set the table, and then we're just going to go in full bore on both episodes. We may jump around like talking about things out of sequence or whatever, but that's fine. Everyone has presumably seen the episodes, and we'll figure it out together. So here we go. Well, actually, before I do summary, I did have some info, if I can find the right window. I have way too many windows open. It's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that one.
Makes me wonder what you've got on said Windows dock. Are you doing something suspect?
No.
There's some Bitcoin mining going on here.
No.
For the old pornography? You can tell us,
No.
we're all friends.
Unfortunately not.
Hello and welcome to our discussion about the Promised Neverland. Let's talk about Doc's pornography now.
Yep. That will be
Pixiv.net favorites, R18, JVs. I know all about this shit.
Phil
God.
nudes. Okay. So I just wanted to quickly say that the director for episode 10, I don't have the episode 11 info. Shadon, would you mind checking Emily's blog for me in full bloom, Emily Rand,
yes.
and see if she pointed out the director for episode 11, and we'll get the info on that. But while you're doing that, I'll talk about Ayako Kurata, who was the director of episode 10. And you may know Karaka from directing such garbage as where is it? Oh, Black Blood Brothers, which sucked. Karata was the director, the chief animation director for Black Blood Brothers, which was a bad show. But they were also the series director for Grand Blue Fantasy, the animation, GBF, the new GBF. And that's actually a decent show. So, and there's plenty of other stuff. They were one of the directors, one of the animation directors, rather, of the Inuyasha TV series, which is this really long Rumiko Takahashi manga that was adapted into a really long anime. It has a lot of fans. I actually don't know anything about like whether the animation's any good, but this person was the animation director there, and a ton of credits for animation direction, key animation, storyboarding. And I should say this person was not only the director for episode 10, but the storyboarder as well. So they had a lot to do with visually what made episode 10 tick. Shadon, were you able to find the director of episode 11?
It wasn't mentioned on the most recent blog. It did not say that specific.
Okay, all right, totally fine. We'll probably have it in a couple of weeks when we reconvene to do the final episode.
We've got to point the finger at someone and say, you did good.
That's right. We have to do it.
We're making it happen.
We have to do it. I guess this is as good a time as any to say, like, that next week we will be off. We will not be doing our usual stream. I will be out of town. I will be AFK. So next week we're going to have a break. And then the following week we will do our episode 12 stuff and probably spend a fair bit of time talking about the series as a whole, I would think. So look forward to that.
I will be drinking a bottle of vodka for it more than likely, because why not?
Why not?
I did it for Frank's. I did it for Banana Fish. It's about time I, kept something consistent, which is my rampant alcoholism. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Happy Friday. All right, let's get going with these. Get these summaries out of the way so that we can get to the discussion. So, episode 10, we got Norman telling Ray and Emma that he's going through with being shipped out. We have an extensive flashback scene of a bedridden, sick Norman and Emma visiting him and playing telephone with him. I know Shadon is going to have a bit to say about that in our discussion. We have Emma and Norman's very just tense and emotionally packed, tearful goodbye. While Norman, who ultimately does decide to leave, is walking across the property with Mom, we find out the chief reason why he's done this, that it's buying Emma and Ray time. You know, and Mom knows that he's done this for this reason, and that so that his friends that the schedule will not be moved up, that Norman will be shipped out on time, so the demons will have their requisite supply for another couple months, and Ray and Emma can live happily in the house, spending their last days unharmed and having the full 2 months to live out their days. And then we have the depression of Ray and Emma.
Oh God!
They are emotionally devastated. Emma physically devastated as well.
I could not be happier that we didn't get the Christmas insert, given that it passes through December. Fuck me, that'd have been miserable.
God. Yeah, they are very despondent. Ray tells Dawn and Gilda that he's given up. He's so very tired, he has given up. Emma, though, does not. Despite Mom's advice, despite Mom's pleading with her, telling her to give it up, it turns out that she definitely has not, because on the last night that Ray is in the house, the night before his birthday, they run into each other in the dining hall, and she reveals to him that she has not given up on escaping. That is an overview of episode 10, and episode 11 picks up basically right there on the same shot that we left off of on episode 10. Emma grinning, what's the word? Mischievously is not quite right, but she's
maniacally?
Yeah.
She looks like she wants to kill Norman. Ray, I mean.
She's been up to stuff.
Say a bit late for that.
She's been up to stuff. And it turns out that neither one of them has given up. Ray has, in fact, they both, I think, knew that the other would work in secret alone. And so they independently decided to pretend to be defeated and to, like, act in such a way that from the outside looking in, anyone, especially Mom, would assume they're not going to escape. They've given up this stupid plan. They have been planning stuff, and they're going to each put their individual plans together and leave tonight. Emma initially says, let's do this tomorrow. Ray's like, no, it has to be tonight. So he's going to set fire to the house. He's been collecting all this lighter fluid. Light fuel, I think it says on the bottle.
Fair play.
And so he has this huge stockpile of this that he has collected. And it turns out not only is he going to set the house on fire, but he is going to set himself on fire because he believes that if only the house is set on fire, it will not provide enough of an incentive to have Mom be distracted and not pursue them. Ray thinks that burning the merchandise will be the only thing good enough to keep her behind at the house while the kids and everyone make their escape unpursued. But Emma does not let this happen. She has been reading over this letter that Norman wrote her before I think right after he looked over the wall, saw the cliff, he began to compose a note. He realized that Ray wanted to off himself as part of this whole thing and informed Emma of such. Emma has also obtained the keys that Crone left to Norman. Mm-hmm. And Emma, it turns out, she's not going to let Ray burn himself. She grabs the match. The match is in the air, about to light the house and Ray on fire. Emma grabs it out of the air, will not let it happen. Shadon's favorite moment in the last 2 episodes, the nice catch. That part ruled. It ruled. So it turns out, what she's done is she, Dawn, and Gilda have slowly pulled in more younger kids because they believed Mom was watching only Emma and Ray, because that was the plan earlier. So they've roped in, they've told, used various ways, even as far back as when Crone was here, to let other kids in on the secret, and having them train and collect things, supplies, and everything like that in secret. Emma's plan is like real G's and lasagna. It moves in silence, undetected.
Nice.
Yes. I've lost my place in my notes. So Mom falls for this initial stage of their plan. She believes Ray is burning. She stays behind in the house for a long time, allowing the kids to get the fuck out of there. But as the episode goes off the air, we have Mom standing on the lawn saying, cackling, saying they're alive no matter what. Like, everything's burning up, but the merchandise is alive. You've frozen in a really funny face, just so you know. Oh, man, it's caught up now.
This is why we make these things work to our advantage.
Exactly. The last thing that happens is Ray notes that the babies are missing, right? He says, "Is this everyone? Is this all of us?" And then it cuts back to Mom, to Isabella in front of the burning house, and then out of the side of the shot comes Phil tugging on her gown. Phil emerges, and an episode over. So that's episodes 10 and 11. Discussion time.
What the fuck, Phil?
Phil,
you fuckwit. I thought he was so, on the ball, and then he's like, "Mom, where's everyone gone?" Oh, fuck me. Then again, I still have the headcanon thing, as I was saying to Doc and Vorgelia offcast, that, if you've ever seen Madoka Magica, when Charlotte, the witch, turns giant-sized and eats Mommy. Spoilers for Madoka Magica, by the way, but fuck you if you haven't watched it yet. I was just half expecting that to happen, where Phil just goes giant-sized and just eats her. That would have been good.
The shot that you shared, their positioning relative to each other and the way the camera is kind of pulled back, it looks like it's just perfectly set up for that sort of thing.
I know.
Incredible.
That's what made me thought. That's what made me think that. Oh, fuck. Right. So, do either of you want to go first? Because I've got a shit ton to say, so I'm happy to hang fire for a minute while everyone else gets it all out there.
Well, no, I think we can trade off, because I've been talking for a bit. I'm fine to throw the mic to one of you guys, but we can take turns.
I can't believe Norman's dead. Norman's not dead.
Try
to tell me otherwise.
Well, here's the funny thing. All right, so I've got a shit ton to talk about that's come about as a result of these two episodes. It's funny how things work out, folks, because this delay, that happened in us, talking about episode 10 specifically, means, of course, now doing both in one go. And it's in episode 11, there's stuff that happens in that actually helps, flesh out the points I'm going to make in just a moment. So, things work out for the best in the end. So, let's see, where do I want to begin? I've got a laundry list here. All right.
Go for it.
Let's
throw one out there.
Let's talk firstly about fake contexts and authentic experiences. My, little thesis paper, my TED Talk here. So, I want to pose a question to you all here. Let's make up a hypothetical family here. Let's say we have a family of one parent and two children. And the children live normal, relatively happy lives for most of their years, growing up. And then they find out later that, completely unbeknownst to them, with no otherwise apparent ill effects to them, the parent, has committed some sort of heinous crime. That, they funded the lifestyles they had through, say, blood money. You can name any sorts of things here. I'm only being kind of broad to just get the point across. So I want to ask you all a question. Now, does that invalidate the good experiences those two children had between each other? Does with the parent. Because here's the thing, right? Norman, in his, long goodbye in episode 10, he states that he'd led a good life. you know, he was happy for the times he spent with Emma and Ray, and of course the other children as well. And I believe him. Even though they lived or have lived or are living in a lie, in a complete fantasy, you know, they're not there going to be adopted into actual families out in the real world. They're going to be turned into fucking, you know, Big Macs and, you know, Happy Meals and shit for demons. Yeah, there's a phrase that I thought I'd say. But that doesn't invalidate the good times that they had for each other. And indeed, how many times have we seen that happen? Indeed, in the very same episode, we get a flashback, something I want to talk about separately, that just reinforces that they did genuinely care about each other and love each other. And I think that's a really powerful message, actually, to be honest. Like, this is something that Mob Psycho has been, season 2 has been dealing with as well. Not so much season 1, but that's fine, because season 1 had a different theme. Which is that, you know, you can live a kind of false relationship or, you know, to reality or to people or a combination thereof. But it doesn't invalidate your experiences or the emotions that you feel or the friendships you form under that fiction. I mean, there are certainly like stories out there, you know, that have said that might be the case. The Matrix being one of them, for example, because, you know, Neo lived in a fucking, you know, simulation, a shithole simulation list. But think of other stories where it's not even necessarily that, you know, it's fantasy, but more just repeated reality. ReZero or Steins Gate, you know, time loop stories, Madoka, things like that. And I think it's always quite a powerful, you know, message for that to be said, you know, that, yeah, you might have lived in the world where, you know, the rug gets pulled under and you realize after all this time that this person or this organization or this society doesn't have your best interests at heart. It will actively or passively go out its way to harm you. But it doesn't mean, you know, the good times that you had with friends, family, loved ones, partners, etc. is immediately invalidated. There is still value in experiences that are genuine, that come out of, you know, fiction and lies, as it is the case here with Norman. And we see that. They are, you know, they deeply care and love each other, even though they've been raised in a complete lie, to be cattle. And I found that a really powerful takeaway from this story, even though I don't think it's arguably the main take. But nonetheless, the fact that Norman, you know, doesn't discount anything that's happened in the past prior to his death, quote unquote, you know, that it still means something to him, even though he was only ever meant to be, you know, cattle. That's pretty something.
Let me ask you a question. Like, if instead of the current situation, we had a situation where it's like, okay, Mom and Emma and Ray are all working for the monsters and all want him 100% dead and all want him 100% like to send him there and are lying to him. Would you have reached the same conclusion if it wasn't his friends and it was just, if it wasn't like just Mom, but it was also his friends who were lying to him?
I would know, because like that's why I led the example there, because in a direct relationship with the person who is lying or is perpetuating the fiction, then it is invalidated, I would argue, in most cases. But it's not quite as simple as either. Like, you know, there are still some things that you can take away from that, like knowledge and such. But if it were then the case that Emma and, you know, Ray in this alternate hell world of hell worlds compared to what we've got already, you know, they were in on the gig as well just to get Norman, you know, sent to the chopping block. I would say that he would be within his rights to feel like his experiences were no longer valid, that they were just completely violated.
Well, it's interesting because I think it was you yourself, Shadon, that pointed out like the relationship between Emma and Isabella, that Emma still actually cares about Isabella despite what Vorgelia was talking about, like that direct, like, oh, this is the person that lied to me, but she's still got that love there for her. So like, despite the lie lived between them, she can't erase all that genuine emotion she felt. There's still like a connection that was formed.
I don't think there's really a connection anymore, to be quite honest. I think that when I said, like, you know, about how Isabella feels towards Emma, that is love, quote unquote, but it's love in the same way that Thanos loves Gamora in Infinity War. We all know how that fucking ended up for her.
I don't I don't get that reference.
Fuck me.
I don't watch Marvel movies.
I wasn't referencing fucking Tokusatsu Spider-Man here. Jesus Christ. Never mind. So anyway, no, the point, I don't think that's the case. If I said that, then I take that back. But yeah, that's basically the thing I always get across there, which is that I really appreciate, like, the fact that that was still meaningful to him. It wasn't all completely wiped away just because the rug had been pulled out, and it stayed that way until the end, even until, Norman did die, quote unquote.
Off screen. I just want to highlight that.
Well,
that is, we've seen 2 on-screen deaths, but we have
fucking air quotes.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
man.
So that's interesting. I don't know if I would like necessarily take back what you said either, because I still find the relationship between Isabella and the children interesting. I still think on both sides there's that there is something resembling a connection, something resembling some kind of care, because you can break relationships for other reasons, right? Besides we've been living a lie. Like, a relationship can go to shit.
I can speak to that.
It can go bad and deteriorate, whether it's with a family member or a lover or whatever. And the relationship could be bad, and you could pull out of it and think, oh, the best thing is that we're apart and that we never see each other again and we go our separate ways. But you can still feel positive feelings about them also in that. So it's, I don't know.
I just can't recall any evidence in which Emma shows that after the facts, after the revelation. At least stuff doesn't happen in flashbacks or whatever.
Yeah.
I think at that point they're very clean. I think as far as she is concerned to Isabella, I know Isabella feels differently because hers is a twisted kind of love, tainted love, Marilyn Manson,
Boo,
But I think as far as Emma is confirmed going outwards towards Isabella, once the rug has been pulled out in much in the show, that's it. She doesn't hug her anymore, for example. That was a noted comment. There was, the side-swiping comment of, oh, I bet Connie went off to some better place or something to that effect, the kind of incendiary thing that I mentioned previously. I don't think there's any real evidence that, that Emma still feels that way towards Isabel, nor the other children, for that matter. Ray already has been on the thing, so he doesn't count, but Norman, I don't see any evidence of it. But to each other, between each other, in their own little group, and to all the other children, they still do care deeply. And indeed, like I say, that's why we have the flashback of Norman's, happy fun sick time when he's got the fucking flu, but he still thinks of that quite warmly, because that was still real.
And not just that, the flashback ties directly to the only thing he brings in his suitcase. It's his memories. It's like, he obviously has a very deep connection with Emma, and that's the only thing he chooses to bring.
Man, I have so much more I want to say about that flashback, but I'm going to hold off on that for just a moment. There's a fuck ton of things to unpack from that. Holy crap.
Well, I will lead in with a very brief point I have about episode 10, and that is just that I cannot... I'm having a hard time putting in words how certain scenes in it affected me. That is not necessarily the Goodbye Norman stuff. Like, that affected me a lot in a way. Like, I felt sad. There was, melancholy. But the scenes in which Isabella is physically intimate, like very tender with Emma, and this carries over from when she broke her leg, but there's more of this, like, while telling her, it's over, you need to give up, you're done, you're helpless, you can't do it. Like, to have those tender feelings, like, shown to you by, like, your prison warden, like, to have your executioner hug you, it's deeply uncomfortable for me. Like, it made me squirm so much, like, every time that juxtaposition of a mother's touch and love with, like, the subhuman kind of way of talking to them and treating them like food. It just,
So, do you think she does it as, like, an intimidation thing, or do you think she's gotten used to treating people this way?
What a question. What a fucking good question.
May I respond with a question of my own, if I may? I don't have £10 on me right now, but I'm going to put an imaginary £10 on my computer desk here. I would wager you £10 that what Isabella is saying to Emma right now in that scene in which she's saying, give up, despair, etc., etc., is probably note for note, if not paraphrase, what Grandma said to Isabella in the exact same scenario
100%.
many years earlier.
100%.
So I think this ties in again to, I really like Isabella as a villain because she's immediate, she's human in a world of monsters, but also you can understand, even if you don't necessarily excuse or empathize, understandably, with her actions, because you can see how she came to this point. I can totally, trace the pathway beyond just the stuff we've seen with Crone, for example, like the training, and see how, I was treated this way, and it caused me to see the light. Maybe I should do the same with Emma. It worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for anyone else?
I don't know if she would be like, well, it caused me to see the light. This is the right way. I think it's more that she was broken by the system and then had no choice but to submit to the system. And then through time, she kind of lost her will to fight against the system, or she kind of thought of it as normal, or kind of.
Well, I think those two aren't incompatible viewpoints. Like, at that moment, what helped me get through this? What helped set me on the right path? Oh yeah, those words, or maybe even paraphrase. Speculation, mind you, because we never really get much more fleshed out about that. But I think this whole thing with Isabella saying all that, first off, as you rightly said, Doc. Fucking skin crawling shit. I mean, I was right. I guessed it. I guessed that she would say to Emma, "Hey, why didn't you become a mom?" How could that go wrong? Hey, I could totally see you doing it. And I just thought Emma being a mom. Nope. La 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 la. Not imagining it.
She gave up way too easily for that. I'm guessing she was expecting Emma to be kind of more about as heartbroken and as desperate as she was.
Well, she can always try again.
I don't know if she tried again. I guess we didn't see it.
Well, I mean, say she could have tried again. Particularly had other events lines feed when Ray gets shipped off. Oh look, your two fellow cohorts were close to you are now gone. Do you want to reconsider my generous proposal?
Yeah, the persistence tactic. Right, just continually break those waves upon her shores.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh,
exactly.
You cannot say that.
Ooh. Ouch. Man. Do you have anything else to add, Doc?
Not to that point. I'm willing to now pass the mic before. Yeah, let's all take turns here.
Do you have anything? Go on, Vorg. What do you want to talk about?
Norman isn't dead. Fuck.
I still have something to add to that, but carry on.
Love you, Norman. He lives on. His spirit lives on.
He lives. This episode didn't hurt me as much because I'm like, okay, Norman's gonna do something. The kids have a plan. Something. Oh, he's in the fucking thing. Oh fuck.
She heard his voice and she saw him.
Oh,
as well in the next episode.
Indeed.
But yeah. Oh, you say it.
Sorry, I forgot to mention a bit where I was saying about fake, context and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to clarify before I say anything else here, I do care if Norman's dead or not, as the audience does and as Emma and Ray do. But for telling a story, up until the point we get confirmation from here on out if he is actually dead or not, hard proof of one way or the other, it doesn't actually matter if he's dead or not. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but I'm just speaking strictly...
Kill you.
I'm speaking strictly from story writing perspective, because here's the thing: even if Norman is alive or not,
sleep tonight. You're not gonna sleep tomorrow.
Like a baby. But the reason I say that is because, like I was saying about fake, context and all that, they're now living in a post-Norman world, which sounds really fucking cheesy. But it doesn't mean that, if they find Norman alive later, that the despair that they felt, and then also the resolve to go on without him, wasn't genuine. Same kind of thing. So this is why, while, for, fans' kind of sake, for the, it's interesting to talk about as a fan, it ultimately doesn't matter right now for the story's purpose if he is alive or not.
It doesn't.
Because it's going to affect them regardless one way or the other.
Yes. He still lives on through the plan, through their memories, through the motivation that he
photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially. Oh, don't tell me.
Man, That photograph has actually just gained new meaning because it's literally just hit me. Who is in that photograph again? Emma and Norman. Do you think that might have played a part in why Ray decides to do what he wanted to do?
No, he decided that like years ago.
That specific course of action right now, though, given that all things failed, he can't have known years in advance he was going to not get the chance.
He literally said that. He's like even from years ago when I was a tiny child.
Yeah, he's been planning for years for not for specifically to kill himself.
To kill himself, that's what he said.
He did say that he has been fantasizing about it, that he wanted to do this right at the death, right when that's why he worked so hard on the tests and stuff. He said he didn't give a shit about his studies, but he wanted to be what the demons wanted, so right at the last minute, he could take it away from them.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think
that's what he said, though.
That's literally what he says, though.
No, you misunderstand. I'm not talking about what specifically... I understand that's exactly what he said, but I'm talking about the meaning. It's not specific as to what he meant by that. Like, I know he said, like, tests and all that, but if he ever wanted to, not let himself have that, then, he could have done it any time. For me, I think he genuinely did want to get out and escape, but then, of course, the rug was pulled out from under him.
But then the plan got destroyed, so he was fantasizing.
I'm saying that to have planned specifically for this kind of, incredibly agonizing suicide, that seems scary. The point I was trying to make...
He doesn't know it's going to be super agonizing, or he doesn't care.
It's fucking immolation by burning yourself alive. It's the most painful way
you're
one can
You're
die.
A 12-year-old. First of all, you get knocked out by the lack of oxygen way before you start burning. Like, way before the intense pain would start. A, let's not discuss that. B,
Agreed.
Fair. No,
B, I think you're a 12-year-old kid. You're fantasizing about, like, okay, if everything fails, I want to take this away from them. I want to kind of like pull the rug out of their kind of feet, like kind of they did for me, or definitely he planned for something like this. If the plan failed ages ago, but I don't think he planned it just because of the picture or just because he thought he was outside of the group, because he really wasn't. He took the picture. That's just him. He was the one to take the picture.
He was looking at it in this episode. There was a scene briefly with him in the library looking at it. The reason I'm saying this is
I think he gave it to Emma. I think it was Emma looking at it, right?
He was actually looking at it in a brief shot where it was just him in the library where he had it nestled in the book. Anyway, whatever.
Okay. Reminiscing, I would say, but I don't think he feels like, oh, I'm outside of the group. Oh, I should die because I have no friends.
Yeah, no.
Or anything.
No, I'm not saying he did. I'm saying that he would have done it so that way, he could have... I agree with you that he did it because of his motivation to, give the middle finger to the demons and all that. Although, admittedly, I did find it amusing because in my head, I'm like, okay, I see your plan here, but what if you've got that one demon with exceptionally poor taste who likes his steak well done?
Oh no, they know they're special for as special he/him.
I'm just saying, one fucking demon, like, he'll have all the demons around. I'm sorry, but Ray killed himself through, immolation. He's burnt to a crisp. And, like, all the demons there will go, oh, for fuck's sake. And you get one prick in the back.
Like, charred brain.
Yes! Well done, just how I like it. Fucking hell. Everyone's like, damn it, Jim, no one asked for your opinion.
Jim? Okay.
Jim. As in James.
Okay. Jimothy,
yeah.
I'm seeing stuff in the chat. It's like, I'm kind of glad Norman's dead. I'm like, no! I will kill you too!
How dare you?
What the hell? How dare you? No, Norman's dead. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's technically true, though. It's not a false statement.
It does make it more dramatic, and I think it... now that they've crossed this bridge, pun intended, it's going to be horrible if they bring him back. Like, they find the owl dude, and then, like, Norman's next to him is like, hey, bros, what's up? I escaped.
Right.
It was
Next
me.
to Minerva.
Oh fuck!
Minerva, yeah.
Oh man.
I
think
okay.
since he was special, they led him to a special room. They didn't kill him then and there. They didn't like put him in a weird tube and stuff. So they probably wanted to kill him right next to he/him. He might have been alive for the next week or something as he was being transported, as he was being kind of prepared.
As they're applying, the parsley, the oregano, the basil, bit of thyme, salt and pepper. Doc, what have you got next?
Well, do you wanna do the flashback?
Yes. Oh boy, do I want to do that flashback? Oh my. So, I actually was spoiled in the run up to the episode 10 that there would be a flashback because there was a scene of young Norman, like someone had put a screenshot of him in bed when he's sick, and I could tell that he was obviously much younger. I was like, oh, we got a flashback, and I'm not gonna lie, my reaction before I saw the episode, I thought to myself, oh, for fuck's sake, really? We're having a flashback at the penultimate moment prior to Norman's death, that will fucking kill the pacing solid. I'm like, oh, fuck me, no, this has got to be a misstep. So yeah, I had
kill the pacing. What the hell are you talking about?
Because literally, it's going to stop it to have time to, stop what's going on to have time to review an event that's already happened that won't change what's happening right now.
To give meaning to the one thing he decided to take into his...
Again, Vorg, this is just my initial reaction. It's not how I actually feel after the fact. I'm just saying, I'm priming you for what I'm about to tell you different.
Go on. I have my gun unholstered already.
All right, let's hear it.
So, I watched the episode, I watched the flashback, and I thought, this is probably one of the best flashbacks I've seen in anime. Seriously. Because it accomplishes so many things at once. I was actually kind of flabbergasted. First off, recall in episode 9 when Emma's all laid up in bed, she mentions the string telephone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it calls back to that because it's a reversal. It's the situation reversed where Norman is now the one who's uninjured and he's looking after Emma when sick, and they recall that moment. So it's a little bit like that. So that's good. Secondly, you remember, Doc, when I asked you the question way back when, when Emma's leg was broken,
mm-hmm.
that if you looked at that out of context, what would your reaction be to that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you said, it looked like, an adult caring for a child.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not necessarily their child biologically, but a child of some description, someone they care about. Same thing here. And it also reinforces the tragedy of situations, still manages to give Isabella a little bit of sympathy in that she's as much, villain though she is, she's as much a victim as the rest of them. Because this is a genuinely sweet moment in which, she looks after them and cares for them. Like, she's very firm with Emma and Norman, but she doesn't ultimately stop them from doing the telephone thing,
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Secondly, it also it reinforces known elements of the series thus far. That Emma's rebellious and will continue to try and slip from Mom's grasp to keep going back to see Norman, but she always gets caught. It again, is the same thing as previous. And it's also, as I've mentioned before, a really, genuinely warm and authentic moment of caring and familial bonding between these characters that hasn't been, taken away or destroyed, because of all the things that have happened in the series proper. Else, why would Norman be thinking of it in such warm tones? Like, he smiles before he thinks about it. So it covers so many different bases back to back. Not a single second of that flashback is wasted fluff. Which is, like I said, I'm skeptical and cynical to the core. So when I saw that there was going to be a flashback in this, prior to Norman's death, I was like, ugh, really? and now I am of the complete opposite thing, which is that it's such a wonderfully textured individual moment that has a lot of meaning to it. Absolute masterclass stuff. Fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was really well done. I want to say and of course I'm lazy and haven't gone back and checked, but I want to say that these were taken from like interstitials in the manga. Like they'll do these little one-off stories between chapters, and they're not drawn as detailedly, but they're like 1 page, 8 panels max. And it's I didn't read all of them because I got to a certain point where I was just like, I'm gonna skip these because I want to get to the meat of the story. But I definitely remember like the first 3 or 4 were all about Norman being sick. And so the fact that they took that and turned that into something serious and interesting and tied it into the main story was so cool. And I love the fact that that telephone is the thing, and that you have Norman like isolated in this room by himself, like as he appears to be at different times in the story emotionally isolated from other people, but he's got that one-on-one line to Emma through the telephone. She's able to talk to them even through the barrier. She's able to get through to him through the police caution tape door, and her feelings can get to him.
He's just got the flu. He's not got the fucking T virus or some shit. Jesus.
T virus. Right. This was such a cool flashback. Yeah, I'm totally with you. That I love that they put it in here. Very, very cool.
I think I've already expressed my opinion.
Which is, you're sad that Norman's not dead? Is that your opinion?
No. I mean, like, I love this flashback. I think, like, kind of exploring. Wait, he's not dead?
That's what you just said. That's what you've been saying, right?
No,
she's been sad that he's dead.
Oh, I thought, no, but I think word for word that you said Norman's totally not dead. To be clear, this is not a...
saying that for me.
This is not a spoiler. I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure you said, Norman's not dead, you guys. Norman's not dead.
I said that, but...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
I'm just said it to make myself feel better.
I was quoting you. But please... So you love the flashback also.
I mean, I threatened to kill Shadon, so... yeah. And now my 1,000-folded katana goes back in its sheath. You lived for this day, kid.
So
Well,
you just replaced Sekiro Shadon's Must Die. So
that's right.
Tales of John Sekiro, the White Wolf at Icicle Creek.
Bye.
Mr. John Sekiro.
Mr. John Sekiro.
John T. Sekiro. Do you...
Hips don't lie twice.
So stupid.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen
stupid. Did Vorg... I have what I think is kind of a tangential and sort of long point. Did you have anything else you wanted to say that might be more like core to the episode than what I'm about to say?
No, I'm a dumbass.
Stop it.
My brain's tiny. I have nothing to say.
Stop it. You stop it.
Well, that means you're more likely to survive in the world of Promised Neverland. So that's a good.
No. Oh, actually, a different point.
No, wait, Connie. What are you talking about? Like they fucking shipped the dumbass children first.
I'm just trying to, make you feel better. Fuck, I didn't think this through. Damn it. Oh well.
So how about there's 2 little tiny things I'll point out before I get to the longer point. During the goodbye scene between Emin and Norma. Yep, the 2 swapped ginger. Emma and Norman, at the point that she has sort of given up on the idea of stopping him from leaving, and he's telling her, I need you to eat right, I need you to take care of yourself, and like she's just grunting at everything he says, like very it's very soft, low, like fucking shot me right through the heart. Like she just was so defeated, and like I can't stand seeing this girl like for the last little while, it's like she's this reed that is getting bent lower and lower and lower. She's gonna break, no. And that was awful. And during that same scene, like, for a minute, their faces looked like grandma and grandpa. Like, they, like all the lines around the eyes, like, they both just looked so tired. Like, this whole thing is such an ordeal. Like, these poor kids should not have to bear all this emotional weight. It's so hard for them. God, that was so
true.
So the next the thing I wanted to, like, I guess this is a little bit of a tangent, but I see this in anime all the time, and it really, I think, whenever I see it, it enhances the scenes that it's in. And that's like during this goodbye scene, right after all of the main commotion is over and he's leaving, it cuts away from all the people to the sink, and you see a single drop of water drop from
Kuleshov effect.
The faucet and hit the. What is that? Can you? I've heard of that term, but I don't know what it is. Can you explain what that is?
So I actually used this previously on this podcast and completely fucks it up. So this is my chance to redeem myself.
Okay. Yes, revenge. The terminology revenge.
So Kuleshov effects. Kuleshov effects basically is, right? Imagine if you're looking at a camera and you've got a very plain expression.
Imagining. It's easy to imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now let's imagine then that the camera, I'm not going to move it for the sake of not mocking up my webcam here, cuts to a beer ball. Or let's imagine that you then cut the beer ball out and make it cut to
Ketchup.
kind of ketchup or ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
Or how about a sad film? Or how about Plough? Here's the thing, right? That neutral expression itself suggests neutrality. It suggests a reaction or no reaction whatsoever. But then you edit together a shot that follows immediately afterwards, and you then derive a meaning from that facial expression by what follows. Like the neutral expression, of a sad film means, oh, he must be sad. Or the neutral expression versus, a bottle of beer means maybe anticipation or excitement or planning. Essentially, more meaning is derived from two shots back to back than any shot in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
So is Norman thirsty or what?
No, crying. Tear.
Crying, yes, of course.
A single tear.
A single tear.
Interesting. So
Yep.
yeah. Okay.
And also, the sound effects makes when it drops it's almost like a chime or like a note of like time or finality.
Finality. I was gonna say finality.
Yeah.
Like
could be either way.
Yeah. No, that's
Is it
cool.
the same thing in like a lot of Japanese movies or
Yes.
anime or stuff
Mm-hmm.
where they show like the water.
The fucking
like
bamboo
the water
thing
fountain
that
with
fills
the
up
bamboo.
and tumps over.
It's like, yes, I need this in my life. That's the sound my brain makes when I try to make a good
I know.
Like,
Plunk.
okay.
And then filling back up
Why?
again.
My beer almost exploded. Whoops.
So I think that's a cool reading of it. Like the tear, I certainly, when I was watching of it, got the passage of time. I mean, the not just the note of finality at the end, but like, I mean, maybe even that the shots were like everything before and then the water shot were sort of co-temporal. So that this is all happening. It feels long and drawn out and intense, but it all happens as fast as the water goes from the faucet to the sink very quickly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I got also. And I also kind of connected it to the previous episode where he had kind of the moment of realization when he was opening the faucet in the previous episode. And he was kind of doing the same things.
Yeah.
And this is the first time,
There's
something
there.
comes out of it. Yeah.
I mean,
Like he set something in motion and it's finally coming to fruition or coming to pass.
so that's, yeah, I mean, there's, and I know.
And that faucet was never loved again.
Like-
No hand graced that vessel.
we should start a weekly segment called Doc Reads Too Much Into Stuff,
That,
because
fine by me.
this is me now. I think gonna read maybe a little bit more. Like I'm gonna overinterpret the scene. There's also this idea in Japanese culture, literature, philosophy. I speak of all these things as if I've read it. I've only read about it.
What prefecture are you from, Doc?
I know, right? I got to show my prefecture card credentials. Where did you go to school? So
Swinson.
Kyoto, motherfucker. So there's this concept called mono no aware, and spelled like mono no aware. But mono no aware is like, it's broadly speaking, it can be translated to mean like the impermanence of things and the fragility of life, and kind of feeling, I think, melancholic about it, feeling that, oh, this is sad, but in that sadness, in that temporality, that gives life this beauty, this enhanced kind of meaning, and reflecting upon it. It's like all the feelings therein, like that sort of tenderness toward life and melancholy toward, the impermanence of things. And like this scene, like, I mean, it really, I was thinking about this due to the water droplet and the fact that like it really felt like this measurable unit of time that was very, very small, and you had this drama, this whole drama playing out before us in the fact of like Norman is leaving, Emma's trying to stop him, they're fighting, they're arguing, Mom intervenes, they have another goodbye. Like, so much is playing out, all these big emotions complicated in this tiny stretch of time. It's like almost like an encapsulation of, like, I don't know, life in general. Norman's life, like, it's here and it's gone because, you know, he's here and now he's being shipped out, and it's only lasted, in the grand scheme of things, as long as it takes a droplet of water to go from the faucet to the sink. But the length of time doesn't matter. It's like everything that's packed into it, and seeing the beauty in all of that. That's what I totally got out of that scene.
Well, here's the thing, Doc. Like, how many times in this show have we seen references to measures of time? The calendar, the fact the episodes are named after dates, clocks.
There's a ticking clock. I noticed that for the first time this week, and I was like, how long? Like, I wonder if I rewatch this, like, how long is the clock ticking in the background? How many episodes?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're
whittling
their life away.
Dun 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 dun. Sorry.
Like in the intro or throughout the episode?
No, just at a point in the episode when I think I noticed it when Ray and Emma were talking in the dining room, just a constant like tick, 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 tick.
One of the episodes opened with a camera perspective set inside the pendulum on a clock.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, it's more pervasive than you might think, and it's perfectly set against the impending doom they all face. So there you go.
The clock is in the OP too. I forgot. I just saw I skipped the OP, so I forget. But you're right, Trickster. It's there.
I like the OP more now. I think it fits more now.
I have
Were you
something to
used
add
to it?
enough in the next talking point I'm going to come up with. Would you believe that it's going to, give more meat to the OP? Man, who would have thought that?
Do you all? Here's another unrelated question. Do you all think Isabella really is happy?
Well, I have an answer to that. I thought about this because this is good tie into the thing I'm going to talk about. But we brought up 1984 before, and I think I even spoke about this last time. But it's not a question of whether or not she factually is happy, as we understand it, but more if she believes it. And I think that Norman asking that question puts her off guard, but she comes back on script, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she is happy, but I think that her definition of that word, or that, what it means to be happy, is not as we would see.
Yeah, the surprise was definitely, I think, for me, because she hadn't even thought about it. She was kind of so absorbed by the system and her job and the script, as you mentioned, that it didn't really come up in her life.
No. But, like, you know, I think that it's kind of a Stockholm Syndrome thing. I have no choice, you know, so I might as well veer into the sun rather than, you know, try and fly away from it, kind of thing. So I'd say that she is happy, but it's not happiness as we would understand it. It's certainly not something that she has cultivated by choice necessarily, or at least with the entirety of her agency. What little of it she has.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good.
I mean, yeah, happiness, success, all of these things are kind of defined by the environment that you're in, by the kind of requirements of your...
Such as scanning barcodes like a fucking wizard!
Her response, her response kind of got me, like... And yeah, like you said, Vorg, like, she was so taken aback. And not just being asked the question, but being asked this question by, like, a 12-year-old boy. I mean...
Who's about to be eaten by demons.
Like, the last thing you should be thinking about is how she feels. But when she said, like, because I'm happy I got to meet someone like you, like...
Yes!
Man. Man. Okay, you go ahead. Sounds like you have a lot to say.
Well, I was going to follow... You actually just brought up the line I wanted to bring up, which was, why say that? And I think that maybe that's the kernel, like the tiny little, you know, nugget of humanity in her saying, well, okay, I clearly have delivered you unto, you know, the demons who are hungry for Uber Eats or Deliveroo or whatever, you know. I'm doing them that favor.
Uber Eats.
I'm doing them that favor, you know. But I think that maybe you can read from that by the fact that Norman exists and has come to the conclusions and, you know, resolve that he has, that she's happy that the possibility of such a person even exists, that, you know, this system hasn't completely and utterly crushed all resistance out of, you know, humankind, or at least the children in this environment.
Yeah, I think after kind of she was kind of exposed to the children, this is pretty much the first kind of genuine indication that she does see them as more than just cattle, as more than just like food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this, man, you guys brought up such interesting points. So why did she? I was going to ask why she said that, but then I came to an answer that I thought, oh, here's the obvious answer, but it hasn't been stated. So I'll throw out my interpret. So, like, yeah, just that there's. Oh wait, no, wait, you actually did already say this. My bad. I'm just absorbing processing what you all said. Just that there's like a person who could completely know the truth of their situation and yet still choose to sacrifice himself for other people. Like, because he's doing it to buy them the next 2 months. What mom thinks is 2 months just to be happy and live and be in comfort. But what Norman knows is like 2 months to plan to get the fuck out of there. Like, he's laying down his life so that won't get fucked up. Like, and she understands that he's doing this to help other people, that he's willing to sacrifice himself. And yeah, I mean, how can you not respect something like that? And I thought this made a really interesting contrast with Ray here, because both of the boys are willing to throw their lives away but for these totally different reasons. Like, you have like Ray, who is going to kill himself out of spite. Like, he's going to do it for these super selfish reasons. He even says, this is a childish retaliation that I've been planning for years to get back at the demons in this way. Like, I've been fantasizing about it right when when their mouth is watering and they're getting ready to eat me, the highest quality brain. I'm gonna burn it up and say, fuck you, I'm a human being. You don't get to eat me, fuck you. But that doesn't help anybody else. That just fucks over the demons. That just makes them angry. Like,
except for Jim, Mr. You know, I love it well done because I don't have taste.
Right.
Yeah, I'm totally calling out people who have steaks well done. Get it medium rare at the very least, you pussies. Right.
Versus Norman, who is way more, like, it seems to have a lot more noble reasons to want to end his life.
Funnily enough, this leads into a talking point of mine. all weaving together. It's all good stuff here. So, okay. I want to ask you all a question. What does it mean, or what makes a good death? Now, when I say this, I'm actually not for once talking about in story terms. I'm talking philosophically. How would you want to go out? I'm not
Piano
talking
bar.
also about well, yes, piano bar. But I'm also not, talking about specific events like what would make you happy, principally, when you die. Like, and I think to preempt your answer here, for me, it's having some significant or majority dictation in how you die. Now, I can, for example, I'll speak personally here. I have a granddad who he is mentally sound, but his body has completely and utterly failed it.
Mm.
And so I've discussed this a lot with my dad, and it's, in my opinion, not right that he is still alive as much as I would like him to be, because he can't be the fully expressed individual he should. So when he does pass on, it will not be, in my opinion, a good death in that philosophical sense, because he's not had the chance to dictate the terms and go out in the way that he would feel happiest with. Whereas conversely, if you, for example, died, say, doing something you love, knowing full well the risks involved in it, then I would argue that's a good death. That's a good death for yourself. Like, you go into that great beyond content. So why is any of this actually relevant to the Promised Neverland as opposed to me, jumping my shit on a stream? Here's the thing. Norman, right? Like, Norman's death, and this is why I said before, why I primed you all with that statement that it doesn't actually matter if he's dead or not. Norman's death is, in my opinion, its own middle finger to the demons and to Isabella. Why do I say that? Because he, in some way of his own, has dictated the terms of how it goes about.
Yep.
He has... I mean, this is why he says things like, smile for me, as he leaves that little girl whose name I can't remember. Why he's left preparations and notes behind. Why he goes happily, with a half-empty suitcase with that one little memento of his time that he cares about. And why he shows no fear. Note that when he's in that gate, the place he's seen Connie, turn into, fucking luncheon meat, he's not afraid. He's not scared. He's not worried. He's accepted his, ultimate fate and is content with it. He's going out on his terms insofar as the game allows him to. This game he's playing. Think of it like a card game. He's going out on a high within the rules that have been pushed to him. He's doing the best he can in them. So, obviously, the events that play out with Norman leaving are, of course, a parallel to Connie's, because that's kind of the ritual that goes on here, even down to him wearing the more formal attire and taking the suitcase with him, and everyone gathering up to say goodbye. So it parallels it in context, but not in underlying, ideas and who's actually winning here. It's a tragic that he's going to his death, quote unquote. Don't get me wrong. But he's going out having at least, dictated the terms of how he wants to go and having done the best he could. I think I even addressed this in a previous, episode where I said that even if they ultimately fail, the fact that they tried is important in of itself and mean. Even if they fail, the fact that he at least goes on, not ignorant of the fate that awaits him, but more embracing it and saying, "Come at me, I'm not afraid of you." That's powerful in of itself. It's a Pyrrhic victory, don't get me wrong, but it is a victory nonetheless. And the funny thing is, right, we delayed this episode, and I got to watch episode 11, and I realized it's the exact same thing for Ray. Sure, the methodologies and what they do are different, but he again is similarly dictating terms. I don't care. I don't you will not have me for food. You will have a cadaver. You will have a charred lump of coal, as far as I'm concerned. I will decide the way in which I go out as my middle finger to you. So, for me, I really, again, this is kind of personal for me, I will confess, but I think that broadly speaking, I really appreciated the show putting this message across that even though, beat for beat, as far as surface level goes, this is the same thing as what happened with Connie. It's very, very different, and it is a tragic end, but not a complete defeat, as it turns out. Certainly not for Norman. He got to decide how he went out within the rules that were set out for him by the game that they're playing, and I really, really appreciate it.
I don't see it like that, like at all.
How so?
It's because you love him and he's your sweet boy.
No. He's my sweet child, but I guess he's gone, so I found new children.
Traitorous mom. What
Traitorous
a
mom.
bandwagon mommy.
I'm a stereotype.
But
Okay.
go on, do tell.
See, I don't think he dictates how he goes out. He knows how he goes out. That's like, okay, I have a bad hand at poker, and then I lose the game. It's like, well, I lost the game. I couldn't make it work. That doesn't mean I dictated it. That means kind of, he accepted his defeat. He tried to make the best out of it.
Yeah, well, that's the point I was actually trying to make, and I don't know if you got my quite in there, because I'm not saying he dictated how he died, but I'm saying he dictated how he went out, as in how he came to that end and what went before it.
At the same time, like, he was doing the same things, whether he was going to die or not. So I'm not sure I see it, but yeah.
No, if he had not no, the thing is, it's not a question of him, like, if he was going to die or not. Like, if he had not known, would he have made the preparations he had done? Would he have done the things?
Obviously not.
Well, that's my point. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Like, he had knowledge of how he was going to go. He wasn't going in ignorance. He was choosing what to do. With his time before he went.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I think it's some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But I don't think that adds, like, that makes his death specifically like a good death. What makes his death specifically a good death was his self-sacrifice. Was the.
Well, that's the same thing though. Like, he self-sacrificed by having the knowledge ahead of time. That is literally the same thing.
Okay, maybe I'm just misunderstanding.
I think like the idea is actually a little bit of a spiritual one, or at least like a metaphysical or philosophical kind of idea, in that, like, and who knows, like, whether these kids are consciously thinking these things or not, but like in terms of the in-universe. But these stories are written by adults, and they want to get ideas across. Like, I suppose it depends on your priorities internally, like whether you think like, well, what happens empirically, materially to me and my body, like, is the most important thing, and that other stuff, because you can't see it, can't measure it, no one else is privy to it, it doesn't matter. Like, if you think that, then like it really doesn't matter. But like, I think that there's something to the idea of, like, I mean, certainly, like, this is what the Stoics talked so much about, the ancient Greek Stoics, and a little bit too of what like the 20th century existentialists will talk about, that like you can kind of be faced with the reality of your life being or all life, like you can, a lot of them will be like, I'm faced with the reality of like the meaninglessness of everything and it fucking sucks no matter which way I turn. It's just nothing. It's meaningless, it's bad, it's death, it's whatever. But like deriving meaning from that by like not even so much what you're choosing, but that you're choosing something of your will, the fact that like you, a person, a human, chooses to orient your will towards something, like there are people that think that that's extremely valuable, and that like you can, and there's no way to, like, for me to sit up in a tree stand or a helicopter and pick out humans and say this one has chosen, that one hasn't chosen, like, but still, just because I'm not privy to that, like, one person kind of only going with the flow and living their life based on orders and what everyone else has said, like, versus someone who has chosen and has decided their path and said, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to, like, how I'm going to live my life. Like, I think you can argue there's a qualitative difference between those two kinds of people.
Yeah.
And
that's why I made the distinction between Norman and Connie. One was ignorant, one was not, and despite having the grace and knowledge, it didn't crush him, to the point where he didn't get to have those little moments, those little things that in the run up to him being taken out of that house by Isabella and taken to the gate, which he couldn't, do something, to have some say in his end. Not in terms of, the fact that he, whether he dies or not, but rather in how he comes about to it, what he does with the time he has left.
This is taking a very dark turn, but yeah, I mean, if we're all going to be eaten anyway, then, I think it's at least commendable that Norman has not like run screaming into the night. You know what I mean? And it's been like, look, we're all going to die. And so I'm going to find some nobility in this. Like, I'm going to choose how and why, and I'm going to, insofar as I can do, make this choice. Like, even if, I mean, the Stoics would even go so far as to say, even if you make the choice to just do what would happen anyway, like, there's still something qualitatively different.
You've considered it. You've decided. You've thought about it.
You've spiritually dug your heels in.
Exactly.
And you're just more aware, I guess. And they would see that. And look, there's arguments. They'd be like, look, all that shit doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, but I am sympathetic to what you're saying, Shadon. I think that there's at least things to think about there. Wow, we haven't really talked too much about episode 11. I think we got into it a little bit, but are there more talking points about episode 11?
Yes, actually there is. I have one about the idea of perspective and audience knowledge versus what the characters know, which I brought before. So, I think that if someone said to me that they watched episode 11 and they said, so, okay, where the fuck did this entire plan come from? This is out of left field. It's not been foreshadowed, etc., etc. Well, yes. It's not. And they felt dissatisfied by that. I would somewhat agree with them in principle. Like, I can't deny that people would feel that way. But here's the thing, right? There's a very key difference in my head between, not foreshadowing or, not having sufficient build-up, setup, etc., stacking the house of cards, then let it drop. Because you didn't think about it and you didn't consider it as a right. Or, conversely, because you did think about it and you were deliberately obscure for a very specific artistic reason. So here's my point. What episode 11 does, and episode 10 to a smaller extent after Norman dies, quote unquote, is that it takes the perspective that we've had and aligns it with what you might imagine Isabella's perspective is.
Yeah.
Which is just to see them being passive, docile, calm, and defeated. And that way it helps sell her own surprise, our own, when the rug gets pulled under from it, when things finally happen. Indeed, it still plays with expectations, even up until the middle of episode 11, when Ray supposedly sets herself on fire. Because we think, oh God, he's done it. But then he hasn't. It turns out that Emma, of course, did the nice catch.
Nice catch.
Nice catch. So I really appreciate the show for doing this, because otherwise I would have probably been a bit gripey about that. Like, this plan came out of left field. And a little bit of it still does. Like, how the fuck did Ray manage to stock up so much light fuel without being noticed?
Don't say anything. Hey, Mom, I want, 1 ton of fuel. Can you get it for me?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what Emma did today.
I mean, what are they using that with? Is it the lanterns? Like, why is he stocked? But fuck it, whatever, who cares? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, the minutiae like that. See, also, Emma cut off her ear to get rid of the tracking device, but why not just take the lobe off where the actual thing is? Doesn't matter, who gives a fuck.
Okay, we're talking narrative. We're talking narrative. This is my territory, motherfucker. This show focuses entirely on the person that is disadvantaged, or the group of people that is disadvantaged the entire time. It starts focusing on the children. It starts throwing peril at them. They kind of start looking like they're going to overcome everything, but then the rug is pulled off their feet, and then we get kind of the mom moment. We've been building up mom as if she's this wonderful schemer, as if, she has everything under control, she knows everything.
The puppet master.
Yes, we have to show her overwhelm the children, and the narrative completely switches to kind of what she knows, what she kind of thinks, like you mentioned. And then, yes, we get kind of it's almost like, the second act in a show that has had so many first and second acts and no third act. And this is our third act that kind of just punctuates all of the first and second acts that we've had, both in like short term and like, we solved this problem, oh no, new problem. And in like long term, like, we've been solving problems, oh shit, mom knew everything. Mom had everything covered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just as she in turn does not know anything, and just as she in turn doesn't know everything, neither do we. And that's why I don't mind in this instance, because it's an alignment between those two things. It's great. And also, funnily enough, we've actually been subtly primed towards this as the show has progressed.
Yeah.
Which is, how many times have we seen things framed from behind windows or through shrubbery as if we're the cameraman observing these kids in a fucking nature documentary? How many times? How many times has that happened?
Many times.
The show's built up to this moment, so it earns this violation of the, setup and payoff rules that often permeate fiction, because it's doing it with intent as opposed to, $30, I'm alright, I'm gonna do shit.
I mean, they do set up.
I'm gonna write my fanfic. It's gonna be fun for you.
There's that voice again.
They do set up a few things, like Emma is like, let's give them the plan, let's whatever, and like, okay, sure, she tells him the plan like off screen, and we're like, well, why couldn't we have heard it? I think we can like kind of like, this comes off right after they tell Don and Gilda, and right after they prove to be mature enough to handle it. So it's kind of a logical conclusion that she would kind of go towards that. That's her maturing. That's her being faced with a problem, being faced with her own failings, failing to see the children for what they are, and then overcoming that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I think I mentioned before, like, the idea of Emma's faith in others being tested, that.
Yes.
No. And, we had the earlier episodes in which she didn't, for understandable reasons, I must stress, by the way, it was a lie. It was what we call a white lie. She didn't want to tell Don and Gilda because she didn't think that she told them full bore the truth, that they would be accepting of it, which I think is a reasonable concern. A mistake in the end, as was proven by the events, but a reasonable concern. But as the episode unfolds, we learn that she has wisely not only A, decide to trust other children, but B, get them in by giving them the concrete evidence they need, which is them listening in to Crow and going, I'm going to do my exposition dance while I tell you about the plans we've got. Sorry, you probably didn't catch all that because of the stream going out. I'll send you all the raws later if you want to turn it into a GIF. But anyway,
I saw the motion lines.
That'll do. You can interpret the rest. So this is something Emily Rand mentioned on her most recent blog post. Shout out to Emily, who recently joined us on this very stream of thought. This is Emma's crowning moment. I mean, Emma's had plenty of good moments, despite what people who apparently watch the show but, still comment on it would tell you otherwise, because they're fucking blind. Or they've got the, she's a girl horse blinders on. So fuck you guys. Anyway, yeah, I've got no sympathy for people like that who want to be dismissive of very obvious shit like, oh, here's the secret room, by the way. Oh, speaking of which, said secret room is locked in this episode, and they only found out because of Emma's own, deductive reasoning on that. So if people want to be dismissive of her, role and her, contributions to the escape, watch the fucking show, dipshits. Okay, anyway, anger aside. So, like, this is her crowning moment. This is where her familial instincts, her being the actual genuine mom of the, ranch, so to speak, comes full through. It pays dividends because she gets everyone on board. And the plan works as a result. As opposed to Ray having the opposite counterpoint where he's entirely self-centered, solely insular on it, like, I'll do this, you do what you want, you've got your own thing, but I'm going to just, go out in a blaze of glory. So,
Man, the triumph I felt when reading this,
Yes.
it was like I could feel it, I could touch it, I could taste it. Oh, it was so cathartic. Oh.
It's like, the children, they're everything I wanted them to be. They're my children.
Yes.
That's the best part. Like, oh my god, how are we going to do the children? How are we going to do the thing? How are we going to tell everyone? And it's like, yes, everything's amazing. Everyone is doing this. Everyone's in on this together.
yeah,
We're a
it's
family.
a team effort. We're a family, and families do shit together.
We avoid, like, some big kind of, like, uncomfortable moments that we might otherwise have. Like, hey, here is Emma and Ray in a big room full of tiny children telling them that they're
why
gonna die,
did you
and then
escape,
they
Emma?
cry for a while.
Emma, why did we leave? Emma. Well, let me tell you about the demons that would eat you.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
dear.
like, yes, it's like after so much uncertainty, after so much like kind of ups and downs, so many perils, we have the show goes, yes, everything works out. All of these children are wonderful. They're all in on this. You know, like the world is on their side.
That's right.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. And
Yes!
man, and I didn't even mind, like you said, Shadon, in lesser shows it would feel like a cheap trick, but the way that they I don't know, I appreciated the effort, at least, to say, like, when this was going on in the show, that was also going on.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
like, when you thought Emma was looking down at the ground and doing nothing, and the kids were, like, hugging her and being around, she was actually telling them stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I liked that. I thought that was, again, effort that I appreciate. A good touch.
Few things that I didn't like. The big bad exposition dump at the beginning. Like, oh, we've been doing this for the past 2 months. Like, oh, I've been pretending, and oh, you've been pretending. It's like, oh, that's clumsy. That's a bit clumsy. And also, the one thing that kind of came out of nowhere for me is how did Norman, like 2 months ago, figure out, oh, Ray is gonna burn himself? Is that the shit that he found under his bed?
All the chemicals or whatever.
Yeah, the chemicals.
Possibly?
Is that what he
Mhm.
found? Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, it shows him looking behind Ray's bed while he's talking.
Yeah, it
through
shows
the note.
him, and then I couldn't
Under the
tell what that
floorboard,
was.
yeah.
But yeah, if that was like the fuel, like, okay, cool.
I think maybe, like, I don't know, maybe it's one of those super genius moments. He deduced from Ray's manner and body language, and then the fire.
No.
He read the walkthrough.
Yeah, exactly.
I read the script. It's on the floor.
Man, I have to say, like, I'm so glad that Ray isn't like one of those child smokers. He's just there, like,
Ah,
oh shit!
oh fuck.
Set my own bed on fire. Whoops, and all the oil.
Oopsie
Oh, dear.
boopsie.
It's now a good time for me to tangent onto the idea of fire, by the way, because this is my final talk.
Fire. I take you to burn.
That's pretty good.
Can I ask a question real quick before
Yes.
we do? So, I know there's still some things to shake out and things to settle, but part of me couldn't help but wonder at the future a little bit. A lot of these kids are very young. It hasn't showed the infants or whatever, but like Lanyon and Toma, they seem pretty little. Like, how do we think? I mean, I realize, like, Emma has told them the truth, and as far as we know, like, the show is saying, they get it and they're fully on board. But what if, I don't know, what if it's like a game to some of them, kind of as kids? What if they don't?
Yeah, kind of.
What if, like, in 2 months or 2 weeks, they're like, I'm tired of playing survival. I want to go home to mom.
Well.
Will
Here's
they
the
be able
thing,
to
right?
handle it?
I'm not going to tell you how I think it's going to go. But I am going to say that I would totally be down for that being an element being explored in later volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it does have that element now of, we're off on an adventure, it's going to be great. And then, the harsh reality of, right, Onion Kid, go forage for mushrooms for 17 hours or whatever in the fucking woods. Go gather us some shit. Like, that reality will come crashing down on. But that in itself is a good thing to explore, to have a challenge put on them that way. So I would,
No, continue.
So I'm totally down with that being a thing that the material explores later. Like, why I ultimately think of the outcome will be, I don't really know right now. I don't know enough about Onion Kid, apart from the fact I'm sure he's got layers to him.
Ah!
Good way to make that. That's so fucking good.
Oh, that was good.
That's it. Podcast Pete. But anyway, so sorry. I mean to say, I don't know enough about these characters, but that's the thing. That's fine. I'm not complaining, because there'd be time for them to be developed later, and then we can then learn about maybe group dynamics. Like, does one group split off to go somewhere else? And do they then beat up? Blah 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 blah. Like, there's a lot of potential to be mined out of this. So just the fact that you even said that, Doc, makes me excited for what comes next, because I can see that being a thing that the material would explore.
I'm so excited that there's one more thing to come in the next episode. Like, it's very relevant to some of the things we've been talking about regarding like Emma's leadership skills and stuff. Like, I think that there's a really interesting, I really want to see how you guys react to a thing that plays out. Very excited for this.
I will tell you how it goes. Shadon is a coward. He will not tell you how he thinks it goes. But
I am wounded in my non-existent heart.
The children understand, okay? So I believe the children understand about the monsters. The children understand about their fate. It's not like, oh, we're going on an adventure. And I would really not want to see that kind of narrative where it's like, oh, we have to fucking put some words into these children's brains. It's like, that's not the narrative I want to see. I want to see them as a unit. I want to see them solving problems. I want to see them as like the perfect family. I don't want to see like problems within the group as much. So what I think instead might happen is some of the children might not necessarily like be prepared to see the demons or to have their lives in actual danger. They might be understanding, like, okay, cool, maybe we'll die, and it's like, oh my god, we're scared. But I think like a point later is going to be that they will not, like, kind of be nothing will be able to prepare them for when they inevitably kind of face demons or face like death.
That would also be an entirely viable way for things to go, like where they are a cohesive unit, but they have problem solving together.
Man, there's an old anime that you should watch, Vorgelia, called Galaxy Drifter Vifam. Like, it's this exact thing. Like, I'll briefly give you an elevator pitch. It's sci-fi, far future. There's a war. The adults like put all the kids on this one military base or city or something. I think it's one just military base. They shove them all in this one spaceship. I think it accidentally gets launched into space. The aliens decimate that world, and the kids, ranging from like 16 to like 3 or 4, there's like a group of like around 20 of them. It's just about like their survival and kind of them going around. But it's not like, I kept thinking, oh, they're going to turn it into this Lord of the Flies shit, and it's going to be like me against you. But it's really way more cooperative, and them learning to work together. Like, they have tension and fights, but it never turns into like, now it's time for a mutiny and we're gonna kill you. Like, so I think you would really, really, really like that show.
I don't watch anime. I'm sorry.
Just consider this an old cartoon.
What I want with my children, my special children, they already know how to work together. They already work as a team, as a unit. They're already like all kind of working for the same goal. It's like kind of like they have a hive mind. They know that whatever decision Emma takes or whatever anything happens is for their own good. So I don't want to see like arguments. I don't want to see like garbage. Just give them. It's a kind of different dynamic now that they're a unit. So just give them different problems and have them solve them as a unit. Because they're my wonderful children and they can't fight. Okay? Got it? I'm gonna kill you.
Tell us about fire. Fuego.
Yes. Okay. So, final point from me. So I've spoken once or twice on this stream of thought about the various directional techniques that this show uses, but like the one I've spoken most rarely about is color schemes, or hues, shades, etc. And I mentioned, like, I think in episode 2, like after the revelation hits them that oh yeah, Connie got devoured by demons. Whoops. That the conversation you have is framed in very cool blue tones, and then that's in episode 11, funnily enough, when Ray and Emma are together, they're back in the dining hall. Funnily enough, it's the dining hall appropriately for a show that's mostly about consumption, etc., etc. Again, similar kind of colour. And I've read complaints elsewhere that, the show relies way too much on orange hues for, like, its lighting, because most of it does take place at night, in secrecy. And it hit me, watching episode 10 and then later 11, what the show's been going for all this time. And it's something that's in the OP, believe it or not. Like, the show not only is using these color tones with lighting to reflect the mood of the protagonist, it's also meant to be a metaphor for rebellion. Specifically that, whenever they are plotting or scheming, to escape, they're usually framed in that kind of orange light. When Isabella is questioned about is she happy or not, the light swings in on her face. So there's that. The entire, destruction of Grace House, like, when their rebellion, when their, fighting back kicks off in this, is through fire. When they set, ignite the fucking, oil puddle. When Ray is holding the match in his hand to immolate himself on fire, you can see a little reflection in his eye of that match.
Mm-hmm.
Gilda, in a previous episode, was tying ropes together, when they, were worried about being caught, and the lantern above her was flicking in and out. So again, keeping that flame alive. Like, the show has been fairly consistently been using its lighting, not only to set mood, but also to reinforce the idea of, the kids' rebelliousness, they're fighting back against this authority, and what state that is in, like how vigorously they feel it. There's also that reason why, Emma, when she's dejected, see it's raining, it's green, it's grey everywhere. I really like, maybe I'm reading into this too much, but again, also I should note that, the opening has a fuse and a lantern as its like opening images and has the word fire in it. That's the thing I was going for there. So I think that, there's something to be said for that. I think that that's what they've been going for, above and beyond just simply using it for mood.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's a really cool. Yeah, that's super cool. There's so many things like that in this show, like diet things.
They're a very visual kind of people.
Yeah. Speaking of fire, by the way, one small thing I want to know. Immediately after, when we cut to Isabella for the first time this episode, she's going through the nursery with the lantern. When she puts that down, after, we can infer that Ray has ignited, that pool of oil, we can still hear very slightly the burning of her own lantern. And I'm like, oh, you fuckers. You absolute fuckers making that noise just play very mildly in the background and make you think, oh yeah, Ray's burning's alive now, isn't it? Oh, you dicks.
I hate you.
It's not my fault. It's what's in the show. Don't blame me for what they put in there.
No. That's what I said when it happened. Like, I don't hate you. It's like, oh fuck. Oh, I can't. But like, yeah, it was almost obvious that he wasn't there. But for a tiny moment, it's like, well. But like at the same time, I didn't believe it when fucking Norman died. So I'm like, they're not gonna do it.
Man, I will say
I don't
though,
believe these children are going to die. I just don't.
Did I not?
It's not in my brain. I can't compute it.
Are you trying
What
to
the
divide by
hell?
0 here?
Give up, Vorgelia. Give up. It's so easy.
Did I not call it, by the way, that they would
Oh,
burn Grace House down? Ashes? I'm sure I mentioned that in the previous stream
I'm
before.
pretty sure you did, yes. Yes.
Not that I actually committed to predicting that, mind you, but then again, funnily enough, one final thing I'll say is, like, I also said in the previous stream, I thought, what's their end game here? Like, you know, Grace House will get restocked with more kids at some point, unless they burn it down. So this, like, is the perfect action, I would say, like, as good a thing as they could do.
Yeah.
Destroy the place, so they can't have more kids there. Get the existing kids out. Disrupt the whole thing. Like, I mean, sure, they could probably rebuild it in a short while. But insofar as what they could do right here and now to, you know, truly not only save their own generation, but that of a generation that could be coming. Good move.
Were you, like, you've made so many of these references in past episodes, but, like, while the house was burning down, were you just like, yeah, I'll just put on some Killing in the Name of in the background right about now?
I was actually thinking more of Prodigy's Firestarter.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Or, of course, you know, the, God, what was his name again?
You're
I've had a complete blank.
The trouble instigator.
That's it, yeah. I've had a complete blank. Man. No. It was it was a good thing. I'm glad that they burned the place down. I'm sad that, you know, Isabella got out. I was hoping that she would be caught in there. Like, maybe they should have locked her in there, perhaps, you know, but who cares?
I don't know if that one face was in the manga. I don't know if either of the, like, really memorable Isabella faces.
Isabella looking like she's just eaten, like, the worst Taco Bell ever.
It does look like that. And then the one face where it's like, you think, like, her eye has become a monster and grown tentacles. Because it's like, when she realizes that she's been fucked over, just like the, like, she gets so mad. Like, you can see steam coming out of her ears. Those were great moments. Whenever she turns around and she's, Emma? Oh, you can see, like, it's like hitting her in waves, like,
yes.
Oh,
she sees the ear. She's like, what? And then the fucking veins in her face just explodes. Like,
the ear, the fucking ears.
Also,
they didn't use the box.
No. Because they needed the trackers to be there. So
that's it. Yeah.
Would look at
yeah, they needed them to be in the box.
Ray is in the fire.
Yeah, that's it. And they set that up with Crone's discussion.
Motherfucker!
I thought was going to be the red herring.
They didn't fucking scream at all. They're like, fine, take it. Fucking hell.
Oh, man. But yeah, like, that was set up as what I thought was going to be a red herring because Crone mentioned, you can cut it off and put anesthetic on, it's fine, you can do that. I was like, nah, it's red herring. But no, the kids had a better way of doing it, which was to leave them intact to fuck with Isabella's tracking device.
God.
Remember the other
show.
Red herring? It said they're gonna kill Mom. So over the wall they hid some AK-47s. And they're going back for Phil. They're going back with the Molotovs. Like, hey, Mom.
The Molotovs. Like, I just the line near the beginning of episode 11.
Also, as a bonus, I've hidden 10 Molotovs.
Welcome to Fortnite.
Incredible, man. Incredible.
I mean, I'm just waiting for Emma and Ray. No, for Ray specifically to go back and say, "I was a level 1 mobster. Now I'm a level 30 boss." What do you do about that?
It always makes me think of GoldenEye because I think that was the first video game where the Molotov was a weapon that I played. So I always think of GoldenEye. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, Ray made his own Molotov. How did he make the Molotov?
He just fuel.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess he had enough fire or whatever else you need.
Yeah.
Look, he had a crafting table handy. We've established this.
Right.
He did show the crafting table.
His craft item skill is pretty exceptional. His persuade skill, not so much.
It's like bottles, and then like his fuel, which he has fucking 3 tons of under his bed.
They never smell it. That's the unbelievable part. I guess if it's
also
fuel.
sealed. I mean, they're sealed, but also fuel has an expiration date.
Right? Yeah, also true. Yeah, maybe
after
like
6 years, it's probably not good anymore.
But like, so this is what I wondered, because I was thinking that it wasn't a bunch of lighter fuel. I was thinking they're going to burn the house down using the chemicals. Like, remember he was like, Mom, they're going to poison you, so we're going to swap all the chemicals for water. And he would just keep all the but I guess that would have caused an explosion, not just a fire. So, you know.
You just see Ray there with like 2 test tubes, like, right, what happens when I do this? Boom.
Yeah. Are we ready to rate the episode?
Very much so, yes. I'm going to apologize
in
in advance.
Talk about fucking Phil at the end.
Okay, let's talk about
Phil.
Okay. Mom is like
interference?
Fucking mom.
I can't say
like,
anything.
Mom is fucking like, oh, I'm gonna kill these children. They're alive. Okay, they're not burning, so I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna kill them. And then she's having a moment. She's enraged. And then
she is having a moment.
She is having a moment. And then Phil tugs on her things. Is like, what the fuck?
There are other children here.
I love that scene so much because he's like, what? Which is like kind of the audience thing. Like, oh my god, their plan is like bigger because they probably like thought like, oh, Mom's gonna come after us. Mom's gonna do something. Oh fuck. You know, there's this unpredictable thing, even then. Because, like, you know, you see the children running to the wall, and it's like, oh, it's like 10 of them. Where's everyone else? But, yeah. I'm very happy to see that there's a bigger moment of, hell yeah, we got this as a team. Let's fuck the system.
Fuck you, I won't do if you tell me. There you go, I got my rage.
There you go. Some of those that work forces, Shadon.
Are the same that draw across.
Right. So, like, Emily in chat, Go Atomic Robot, says, like, you gotta wonder what books they had if they know how to make explosives.
Maybe they were put there deliberately.
Well, you know, this makes me actually, you know, as someone who is in and around academia, I
thought you were going to say artist then.
No, yep, as someone who has blown up a few houses in his time. No, as someone who's in and around academia, your question actually made me think, I wonder if they burned, like, first editions or really valuable books. How many books could be left? Like, I know there are humans outside, but, like, what if there's only, like, 1% of the population that's free, and the rest are... And the books are dying and going away or something, you know what I mean? Like, what did they lose in the library? It's a fucking...
You're an extreme dad.
It's an Alexandria fire again. Like, no.
Oh, man, whatever would have happened to that first edition of 50 Shades of Grey?
But yeah,
clearly a cultural monument to be saved for the future generations to enjoy.
But seriously, like, the library at Alexandria had, like, these medical books, these, like, philosophic texts that were never, ever recovered after that fire. We don't know. We don't know. They're lost forever. So, like, what
priorities?
Yeah,
priorities.
Exactly. In this case, there was definitely a higher ranking priority.
Do you want to see that scene where Ray's like, book, child, book, child? Oh, this is such a hard choice.
No, this is definitely not an accident. This is like we need to do this to live. I definitely understanding, but this is the first. This is the first time the thought crossed my mind. Now.
Anyway, I was gonna say, like, how do they know to build, like, Molotovs? You know, they must have had fuel for some reason, right? So they have a fireplace, or they have, like, a, you know...
you could probably put 2 and 2 together. I mean, it's not the most complicated
like candles.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, this makes fire.
I pour in a piece of glass, shatters, blah, 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 blah.
They have all
what
those lanterns.
Bothers me is that he knows they're called Molotov cocktails.
Dude! There's another weird, like...
So definitely there has to be, like, some military book. Like, some shit. Like,
maybe
how
you watch
to
Escape from
smash
New York,
ATMs and destroy the patriarchy.
I mean, to be fair, if you watch Escape from New York, that would also be relevant.
An idiot's guide to destroying storefronts, to smashing windows, looting cash registers.
Anarchy Reigns, Volume 1.
Like, Anarchy for Dummies.
Right, yes. How to Anarchy. WikiHow, Anarchy. Print it off. Oh, shit, you were saying something that... God damn it. I had something I was going to say, and it left my brain. What were we just talking about besides the Molotovs? What were you saying, Shadon?
I'll just briefly sideways say to answer Jessica's question.
Got it. That I had one of those, like, sort of weird, like, what level of technology is this society in moments in this episode, too, because, you know, you have Mom with the big tracking radar, but you also have Mom using a feather pen to write her letters. And I know, it could be one of the fucking, like, boutique, like, oh, this looks like a feather pen, but it's just an ink pen. But, like, why would you do that?
I have to say, Doc, like, I thought that, and I thought, what is she writing? I just thought, day 365. Ray is a complete twat. I cannot convince him to not be a mopey dick. It really, really bothered me. Lunch was excellent, though.
Lunch was excellent, yes.
I would love a side series of, like,
the
young Ray and young Norman just bickering.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about in the manga. Those, like, the stories that they're, like, ongoing between chapters or between books. They'll be, like, one page, like, side story 1, and then side story 2 will pick up from where it left, and it's just about them as tiny children.
Something we've not addressed, by the way, I just want to bring up as a point to also reinforce how fucked the whole situation is for Isabella. Again, not, you know, sympathizing with her necessarily, or, you know, saying, you go, girl, but more just like, man. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but did she not say to Emma, have a kid, and then you might become a mom? Inferring that, you know, they are forced, you know, they are inseminated, artificially inseminated, and then their kids, once they pop them out, are taken away to be grown as meat for the demons.
Yeah, I think based on what she said and then based on what Crone said earlier, like, part of being like the final hurdle to being a mom is like when they
is to
say,
give
like,
up your child.
Yeah, they're like, okay, you've passed mom school, you're like a worthy candidate, so you have to have a baby and take care of her. Or I don't know, maybe it's also part of mom school. Maybe they, like, make you have a kid and take care of it and be like, you're the best caregiver, so now you, like, graduate.
And then have to give it away, so that way you know, are familiar with the idea of giving up children. You might,
probably, yeah. That's the last test.
Awful.
That's fucking brutal, man. God, fuck these demons.
Like, but that also makes me... I'm just gonna leave on this note here. Like, this is complete fanwank theory, so don't believe it for a second. How fucked would it be if it turned out Ray was Isabella's son?
Someone in chat said Norman was.
I'm thinking it's the hair colour.
Yeah. Oh, he dies it. Norman dies it. We all know it. he wants to play it off like it's simple. We know.
What with One Winged Angel brand?
Yeah. It's silver hair is cool. The young people like it.
Man, this thing is fucked. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, man. All right,
we do have a discount for Norman in the audience.
Oh, the clone.
The children. Yeah, we have a discount Norman.
God.
Also, we have turned out these kids were clones.
Exactly. We have, like, discount versions of, like, we have baby Emma. Now we have this Norman. Now what the hell?
I would actually argue that Phil might be Crone's son. Woofed. Oh, dear. Dear, oh fucking...
No.
Okay,
I appreciated the lean in.
Before before we get to rating the episode, I apologize for not putting any polls up for Twitter as of yet, because I've just been kind of too stuck in the conversations. But there will be some. There will be some coming up. There will be some coming up after we conclude. I do have some ideas on what's on. So I'll drop those in the Warui Deshou Twitter after we finish rating the episode and sign off.
I have this problem as well. I sympathize with you entirely.
I've got ideas. Putting this noggin in mind.
Just inserting it into the flow of the discussion is like such a pain. But this is what I go through for you, audience. This is feel it. Feel my anguish. Vorgelia, rate this episode.
Rate both episodes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Both episodes. Oh my god, these episodes were amazing. They were like just a roller coaster of emotions and a wonderful ending and a wonderful kind of like redemption and punctuation of the roller coaster of emotions that happened throughout the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
What wonderful episodes. Do I have any memes this time?
You're short on memes? You're the dark web?
9 Molotovs out of 10. And
you lost one.
No, okay, yes, I did lose one. And also 5 burnt sausages out of 5.5.
Man.
Oh, man.
Oh, my. No. No.
Something smells good.
Now I have to like come up with another referent to refer to.
I've got
10 nice catches out of
Stop!
Damn it, bro.
4 ears in my necklace.
You can Musa, you know, Doc.
But that would. I shouldn't. But it's hovering. The mouse is hovering.
10 water drips out of 10.
Shadon, rate the episodes.
with pleasure. I've talked about all like the various like ideas I plucked from these episodes and the execution, but I haven't really talked about how I reacted emotionally. And nice to say, like in the run up to Norman walking out of that door, I was like, no, they ain't doing it. They ain't doing it. They ain't sending him off. Nah, it was some last minute thing. He's gonna escape. It's fine. We're good. Great. And fuck.
Exactly my reaction.
It like say what you will about like what goes into making this show. Say what you will about the technical elements or the writing as we've disseminated. What I haven't really spoken about is the end effects, and it did grip me. It gripped me. It made me want to see what happened next. And then seeing them burn Grace House down to so much ash in the end. Fuck yes. Take that, you demon bastards.
Yeah.
So also, I'm going to give 2 different ratings for these episodes because I can't really say enough how impressed I was with episode 10 in particular and all the various elements that went into it. So episode 10 gets 5 out of 5 incredibly cruelly timed swans migrating for winter.
Oh man, that was another
nice one.
Yes,
Nice one.
another passage of time thing that I forgot to refer to.
Yep,
so good.
That's it. And as for episode 11, also really good. Not gonna lie, didn't quite. Well, it can't really because of the function of the story in question. But I still think it was excellent all around, and I will therefore give that one 4.5 anachronistic quill pens out of 5.
Man, you guys took all the good ones. You really just took them all. Well, these episodes, I only have to come up with one because these episodes have the same rating for me. I thought they were both excellent, like really, really amazing, like catharsis episodes. I love. Someone in chat, I think it might have been Emily. Forgive me. Had said this episode was almost like the part in the heist movie where they pull off the heist. Like,
yes,
you'd seen the plans, go sideways, and you'd seen the replans. But a lot of times in like I don't know, the ocean,
steering a car back on the road,
or like, oh man, the Mark is gonna be home that day. Fuck, he was not gonna be home. You know, like.
Even in those movies, a lot of the time you kind of see the plans to lead up to the final reveal of how they actually pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, just, okay, we're going to do it this and this and this, and it works out.
Yeah. And that was a good example. This also reminded me, like, it's a better version of what I'm about to say, but not dissimilar feelings in, like, the Kaiji episodes whenever it, or the Akagi episodes whenever it's just an explanation. The previous episode, they beat the system, or they won Mahjong or something like that, and then there's a whole episode to, well, let me tell you how I did it. You know?
Let me explain how I didn't get my fingers cut off.
Yeah, let me explain how I beat, like, the world's greatest pachinko machine, or whatever.
He got his fingers cut off.
Just one, right? Or was
No,
it?
He did, but not initially, because he was playing against the guy before with the e-cards.
Against Tonegawa.
Yeah. But he didn't get his fingers cut off then. He did when he lost against the boss, though.
Mm-hmm. Right. But yeah, no, these episodes gave me, like, such good feelings. Like, it just reminded me of why I loved this arc in the manga. Like, the setup was so good, and it just makes the payoff really, really sweet. And, man, everything about it, all the symbolisms we talked about, and the running motifs, and our love for these characters, and just the trauma, like, so much emotion. Like, there was so much here, and I loved all. I'm going to give both these episodes the full 5. 5 old Akira children out of 5.
You could have said 5 light fuel. You still had the gas tanks.
Well, that's boring. I think it's much funnier.
How many light out of fuel? 5 light out of fuel.
17 light out of 12 fuel. 0.2. Yeah, Akira children are scary little children with very old-looking faces. Much like this episode, they had the very old-looking faces for a sec.
6 discount Normans out of 7.
Discount Norman, right. Yes. 7 leaves falling onto emotionless Emma's shoulder out of 5.
Okay. You're stretching it a bit.
That is the episode. Thank you, everybody, for watching and or listening. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We appreciate everyone who listens or watches on demand. Thank you very much. If you would like to show your appreciation to us, give us a rating and review on iTunes. That helps us, in our discoverability. Follow us, subscribe on YouTube, share, tell all your friends. Follow us on Twitter, SoundCloud. Please take our survey to help us improve and do right by you guys, the community. We are small now, but we are still awesome. And we being the community, we, the hosts, are awesome. But I'm talking.
Okay.
You guys are good.
Over.
You guys are the best. Help us.
You good. We love. Big heart.
Baba.
Bye, bench.
Podcast. Baba is you. You is podcast is wall. That's a really good video game, by the way. Baba is you. It's really good. Okay, so yeah, where can folks find you on the internet who are listening to the show via audio and cannot see your Twitter handles under your picture?
You can find me on eBay. I'm currently going for 20. I feel like that people undervalue me quite a bit. So please do head to eBay and search for secondhand Shadon, and just drop a bit. See, fair, Doc. They're not going to see that either.
No.
So you come with the ketchup and the ironing board, or is it just you?
Accessories.
Depends on what you want me for.
Oh.
But anyway. In actual legitimate answers, in reality, you can find me at Shadon10 on Twitter. I also have a curious cat on the same thing. Feel free to hit me up about anything and everything, except eBay, because I don't have me. Sorry.
And Vorgelia is on Overstock.com.
Trade some shares in Vorgelia today.
TD Ameritrade.
You can find me at fanfiction.net/blazemaster10.
Well, never mind that. How are you floating on the stock market right now?
Oh, fuck.
You trading well?
Man, it's a nice...
The VAL stock.
It's a nice callback to podcast content there. The Blaze Master. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, okay, you can find me at your nearest tequila, and Phil has consumed me, so I'm not too much on the internets. But you can find me at Vorgelia or twitch.tv/Vorgelia. Or whenever I hack Shadon's account at Shadon1010. I'm there too, sometimes.
That never happens.
That never happens.
It never happens because I hack your account.
Oh, fuck.
So you can find me at the
Whose account have I been hacking?
That's just Shadon1010 spelled out TENTEN.
And then, like, I asked this question, and then trending on Twitter, Mr. Obama said, "Damn, I love the Promised Neverland." On Twitter. Whose account was it? Oh my gosh.
I'm at the Subtle Doctor. I don't have a curious cat, but tweet me about things. I also have a wrestling podcast called Grappalicious that I do with DJM, David Majors. He's a good follow. Follow these guys here. And if you would like to tolerate talking more about Neverland or other things with me, please at me on Twitter. Thank you so very much. Happy Friday to everyone in the live chat. And if you're listening to this later on and it's not Friday yet, I'm just saying, hey, when it's Friday, happy Friday to you too. And if it's your birthday out there, happy birthday to you. Happy day for everyone today. This is a great day. Go out, enjoy it, enjoy yourselves. We love you. Mwah. Embrace each other, everyone. To the ends of the universe.
Good night, everyone.
We didn't talk about Mama's boombox. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn?
I love this Beastie Boys Sabotage.
I hope you were playing the song I told you to play. Otherwise I'm gonna kill you.